Talk, because I already know everything now.
I don't know anything. I don't
Listen,
know
I
anything.
think that it's better that you talk to me, because otherwise I'm gonna call the police,
Malu,
and you know
it was
that-
Amora. She In the past few months, news headlines have been inundated with news of financial impropriety, from the swelling allegations against Chairman Wontumi's mining interest to Edubuahen's use of national security funds, as well as the Hanan and National Service Authority financial scandals. Now, what these headlines expose is a troubling intersection between politics, business, and illicit finance, underscoring the country's deep vulnerability to financial crimes despite efforts to fight back. In this edition of Hot Issues, we ask, why? At the center of Ghana's efforts to unravel these webs of graft is the Financial Intelligence Center, the quiet but powerful agency mandated to trace, analyze, and disrupt the flow of dirty money. But is the center succeeding? We'll find out as I sit down with the CEO, Kojochum Boafo. I'm Kemini Amanor, and this is Hot Issues. You're welcome to Hot Issues.
Thank you.
What is the job of the FIC?
In a nutshell, the FIC is an anti-money laundering institution. So we are empowered by Act 1044, which enjoins us to mainly, I use the word regulate and moderate the anti-money laundering conundrum, then counter-terrorism financing, and then counter-proliferation financing. So what is counter-terrorism financing? Money laundering leads to a lot of issues, But primarily, one of the things that most governments and our governments don't want is the use of money laundering to finance terrorism, finance illicit arms, and basically finance conflict. So what we do is we track and trace dodgy financing across our banking interfaces and the finance apparatus that exists in this country. But you see, one of the things that we should understand is that in this sub-region, there's been a lot of conflict. Our history, Ghana has been saved conflict, and we can go into the historical antecedents that has kept Ghana peaceful. But we don't take that for granted. So what we do is we have to have a strict monitoring and regulation regime to make sure that people don't bring illicit financing into this country and use it for untoward things.
How really is your job done?
Our job is done technologically, right? So we have software and platforms that we use to monitor and survey what is going on. We have interfaces with all the banks who report suspicious transactions to us in real time. So we are able to track and trace where those finances are being dissipated. Then we are also working with a lot of the security agencies. In fact, let me not say a lot, all of them. So the police have a financial fraud unit. We work with national security. We work with the Bank of Ghana. We work with all the banks, the tax authorities, because one of the things that should be basic appreciation is that if you are evading tax, you are money laundering. Simple as that.
I see.
And then our foreign partners, the FBI, British intelligence, EU intelligence, all the other FIUs across the world.
So, I mean, you surveil individuals as well?
Individuals, companies, organizations, non-profit organizations, name them.
So where do we draw the line between the surveillance and then people's privacy?
If you are money laundering, you are not asking for privacy.
Okay.
But the act enjoins us to scrutinize those big. So what we do is, before we move in on anything, the banks have to tell us that this is a suspicious transaction before we go out and investigate it. But what I have done since I've come here is I have asked that we adopt a more front foot approach, which means we are not reactive, we are proactive. So we track and trace ahead of the fund, suspicious fund, being potentially dissipated through other accounts. Because normally what will happen is if those illicit funds come in, they will quickly be moved into other accounts. And if you are not front foot, you won't be able to get it. With the advent of cryptocurrency and the Bitcoin's world, it has become a little bit more sophisticated. So we've had to up our game, so to speak.
We'll get to, upping the game, but in these proactive measures that you're taking, what will attract you to an individual or an entity?
Lifestyle.
Lifestyle. Okay.
So I'll give you an example. Richard Quay, is that his name?
Niyama Quay.
Niyama Quay, yeah. He had a massive party at the Independence Square. It caught our attention, and we set about to investigate him. And we did a thorough investigation, FIC, BOG, We invited him over, his lawyers. We had a thorough investigation of his operations, his taxes, his businesses, and we found that perhaps what he did that he shouldn't have done was to attract attention, because he had really done nothing.
Right. Since you have brought that up, let's look at that situation. At the time you froze his account, what was the probable cause for doing that?
Money laundering. You want to know the origins of where those funds came from, because it looked suspicious.
But we knew he owns Bill's Credit.
We didn't know anything.
At the time, you didn't know?
No, you can't assume that because somebody owns something, then it's clean. The name of the game is to find out where the funds are coming from.
Right.
Because we've had, let me depart from that, we've had the unpleasant duty of working with the FBI to extradite people who were involved in a romance scams. And those romance scams, the funds were going to the Scandinavian countries, and in comes frozen foods and other items. So the money laundering regime is essentially, laundering is washing, is essentially illicit funds being transmitted to do seemingly genuine or kosher operations. So in the case of those individuals, it was romance scam. It runs into hundreds of millions of dollars.
And these people have been extradited already?
Been extradited.
So which particular case are we looking at, since the extradition is already taking place?
It was about 6 individuals.
Okay.
We were in close consonance with the FBI, and they brought their case. It actually took 6 years. But
to investigate them.
And they brought their case in front of a judge, because we have a mutual legal agreement with the United States and other countries. So one of the things that the mutual legal agreement does for us is it makes it harder for anybody to go and commit a crime somewhere and come and enjoy the proceeds thereof in Ghana.
I see. I was asking about the specific cases. So, I mean, who were the 6 people who were extradited as a result of this?
The names are there, but I would rather skip the names, because the history is online.
Okay. When was this?
It happened about 2 months ago.
2 months ago.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we would have an idea which people those are.
Yeah,
right.
2 months ago.
But it was.
But it is not in isolation. Those 6 is what came out in the media. But the process of identifying people involved in scamming people overseas, and then transmitting the money to do other businesses in Ghana, it's ongoing. It happens.
Ongoing.
Yeah, it's fluid.
I see. How many of such investigations have you done this year?
Right now, we have a particular one that we are doing.
Are you able to tell us a bit about this particular one you're doing?
Let me just say that the individual has been identified. The investigation is ongoing, and I would rather not talk about an ongoing investigation, because I may prejudice the investigation. But what I can tell you is that that individual has been identified. It has been sent to us, and what we are doing now is we are asking for what we call a KYC.
Okay.
KYC from the bank means know your customer. That means the banks are going to give us the business that account or that individual has been doing.
Right.
So what we do then is we look at the inflows, because the direction of the inflows or the origins of the inflows tell you a story. How those funds are dissipated tell you a story. To which accounts those funds go the regularity with which those funds are dissipated, to which individuals it goes to, tells a big story.
I see. Let's stick with the banks because they appear to play a very critical role in this. And I've seen the, the risk assessment report for 2024, and it seems to suggest that there are steps in place to check money laundering that goes through the banks. But the truth also is there's a lot of work to be done in the banks, correct?
Absolutely right. The National Risk Assessment, what it did was it identified our vulnerabilities. And some of the vulnerabilities included the interfacing that we have with the banks. For example, there are instances where we thought that we needed information earlier than we got it. And then after the fact, reporting of suspicious transactions doesn't help us. Because sometimes the individuals to whom these funds are dissipated quickly remove the monies from their account and you can't even find them. Some of them are foreign nationals. In fact, a lot of them are foreign nationals. And you find that a quantum of money has been quickly dissipated from certain bank accounts. And if we get it after the fact, there's very little we can do about it. Because apart from the police, we interface with IOCO. Indeed, when we freeze accounts, after the 7th day, we turn it over to IOCO. So we have to give IOCO time to act. And in most instances, if we give them the time, if we submit our investigations in a timely manner, the law enforcement agencies are quick and they are able to act.
Right. So then, we also know that by law, the banks are supposed to give you information on any suspicious transaction.
Yeah.
Right. Do and you're telling us that look, sometimes you're not getting the information, as quickly as possible.
Yes, and as timeously as we want it.
Why do you think that is the case? Are the banks complicit?
No, I wouldn't want to proffer that. I think we have a very good relationship with the compliance units of all the banks. Sometimes it just gets mired in bureaucracy, really. I wouldn't want to go that far. I wouldn't say that.
But what could the bureaucracy be? Because, I mean, the law is clear on what they should do.
Yeah, it has to do with identification. And the identification is purely subjective.
There is no threshold at which the banks should flag?
There is, but like I'm saying, it's subjective.
Okay. What is the current threshold that that makes a transaction suspicious?
The regularity with which it is done and the quantum involved. So let me give you an example.
Yes.
Kemini has a bank account at Bank of TV3. She gets inflows of 10 million cedis every day. Every day, right? And as soon as the money hits her account, all the 10 million cedis, so let's say 9.5 of it is dissipated within a day. And it does this repeatedly, happens to the extent that, let's say within a space of about 6-7 months, Kemini has inflows of about 600 million cedis, and she has dissipated all the funds. That's very suspicious. In fact, that's not suspicious, it tells a story. Because you are money laundering. That's what it is.
But based on what you have told us, it means that the banks are also using a lot of discretion to determine whether or not they should report this transaction.
Yes. And it's not ideal, but I still respect the subjectivity of the compliance managers and what they see and what they don't see. Like I said, we have an excellent relationship with them. And the truth is that when we get wind of something and we go and talk to them, we get what we want.
But then it would also mean that if you don't get the information, you can't do your job.
That's why I was speaking about the front foot approach.
No, hang on. But the front foot approach has to do with when you see what is going on.
What I'm trying to tell you is that we get intel.
You get intel?
Yes.
Okay, from
we
where?
Get intel.
Through which means?
The intelligence agencies are working. So
right.
National Security can call you and alert you to something. The BNI or NIB, as they are now, can call you and alert you to something. The police can call. Let me give you an example that you may want to know.
Yeah.
Last week, 10 days ago, the armed robbery unit of the Ghana police called me. The commander, the unit called me. They had arrested some armed robbers. And they found that what they were doing was the proceeds of the armed robbery was going into mobile money platforms and quickly being dissipated. So they asked us to freeze those mobile money platforms. So those are some of the intels I'm telling you about. National Security can tell us that they find something suspicious, we should have a look at it. And we do it all the time. I don't really want to go into specifics because, like I'm saying, specifics, prejudice investigations, they put the PEPs on alert. And trust me when I tell you that the perpetrators are very, very savvy. I dare say they are at par with us on their technological abilities. Sometimes they may even be ahead of us. So giving away too much will become problematic.
Absolutely. And I can understand why. But while we are wrapping up on the subject of the banks, right, when you look at recent corruption-related cases that are being investigated, and I'd like to believe that the FIC is involved in those, it begs the question as to why these transactions were not flagged. For instance, in the national service scandal, which precedes you, of course, the question is, why didn't the banks flag all these transactions that were flying about? It's your investigation able to say why?
You answered your own question. You said precedes me.
Right.
The question is
but you the action precedes you, but the investigation is happening now. I mean, so have the investigations been able to identify why these banks did not flag it when someone had more than 2 million on their e-switch in the name of a service personnel, for instance?
Let's leave that to the Attorney General.
Right. But that's something that should be flagged in.
You said it precedes me.
No, but I understand that. And, we are not going to go into the specifics. Of course, it's being, attended to in the court. But what I'm asking is, on the regular,
it should be.
It should be flagged.
I'm answering your question. It should be. But you are a tough interviewer, so you're pretending not to hear me.
Engineer.
I said it should be. And I dare say that maybe if the NDC government was in power, it wouldn't have happened. Because if you recall, during President Mahama's first time in office, something like that was flagged at the National Service, but it wasn't nowhere near the scale of what has happened there. And you see, for me, and for you as a taxpayer, for us as taxpayers, every time you hear something like that, you should be very upset. Because it's the difference between going to the hospital and being attended in a timely manner, because those funds have gone to private individuals and it should never have gone there. And yes, you are right. It should have been flagged. And like I said, it precedes me.
What are sanctions for financial institutions that fail to flag transactions?
We report them to the Bank of Ghana.
Okay.
If we think that there's a flagrant attempt to hide information from us, we report it to the Bank of Ghana. And the Bank of Ghana have a department that deals with those things, and the director is on our board. So, our board is an statutory board. So it has representatives from the Ministry of Finance, from BOJ itself, and like I said, the director of that particular department is on our board. In fact, he's a carryover from the previous board. Very, very conscientious gentleman named Dr. Sayeboa. Very, very conscientious. He's very, very adept at his job. And we have the representatives from the police. The Deputy National Security Coordinator is on our board. So our board is very businesslike. Representative from the AG's office is on the board. So if we determine that there's a flagrant infraction, that is information is not being given to us flagrantly, we report to the Bank of Ghana and they take care of it. And I mean, there have been instances in which some financial institutions have been in a lot of trouble for not giving us the information in a timely manner.
This year?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
In a particular case, yes.
In a particular case?
Yes.
Which of the cases?
The case is in court.
The case is in court, so you can't talk about it. All right.
But I mean, let me just tell you that this particular individual was the largest depositor in a certain bank, and so the information that was needed was not forthcoming, but we finally got it.
You got the information.
But
right.
The case is in court, then the person is on trial.
Is it the Dubois case?
No.
Let's look at another vulnerability, the real estate sector.
Yeah.
How is the FIC maneuvering the real estate sector in tackling issues of money laundering? It's
a very big concern. We have been taken to task by, especially, and I will tell you, especially the Western embassies. They've been very concerned. I've had meetings with a few of the ambassadors who are concerned about the spate of real estate proliferation in Accra. And it's interesting to note that, and I'm a civil engineer, so when I see a building going up, I have an idea of how much it costs. But you can investigate the real estate company, you look at their outgoings and their incomings, and you can't find who the off-takers are. That's called cash-based money laundering. Because it's apparent to you that that project is being done with money that is coming from somewhere, money that is coming in cash. So we investigate those as well. And there's a lot we find out, and we package our reports and we forward them to the appropriate authorities, because some of them are national security concerns, right? For example, somebody is dealing in arms somewhere, makes money, identifies that Ghana is a place in which they can bring the proceeds of those arms deals and put up commercial buildings that nobody can rent, right? You go to a restaurant and you notice that nobody has come to the restaurant for a while, but the restaurant has been operating for a year, maybe more. You should be suspicious. Of course, some of it is also plowed into imports. Okay. That's a little bit harder to identify because of the nature of imports that come into Ghana and the attendant flux of the finance, because pay the importers, bring the goods, pay the port charges, your duties, and then the goods are sold and then sent back. Like I told you, in the case of those individuals that were extradited, it took a while because of the route through which the finances were going. So for us, the most important thing, the most telltale thing, is the origin of the funds.
Okay. So these non-financial institutions, businesses and professions, right?
DNFB.
Yes. So which area does it cover? Because when you talk about import, you're talking about real estate. I'd expect that they would also have the obligation of reporting to you of sorts.
We get the reports.
Okay.
Yeah, we get the reports. We get a lot of reports, and we act on them. To find out. There are several of them that we will call and find out
what's happening.
Well, because if you're involved in real estate, you don't use your own money to do it. So if you have off-takers, if you have people who are buying the real estate upfront, it should show. And of course, there are tax implications, right? It should show. It should show in your turnover. It should show in your P&L statement. It should show all over the place. But for some of them, you don't see anything.
Okay.
So when we get those, we refer them to the tax authorities. And like I said, some of them are of national security concern because of the background of the individuals who actually own those entities.
Okay. When you say the background, what are you referring to?
Suspicious foreigners, for example.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Who are comfortable enough to wash their money in Ghana.
Yeah, and corrupt politicians.
Okay. Help us understand how many of these real estate developers or owners you're tracking this year.
I don't think mentioning numbers is helpful.
Okay.
Because you put them on alert.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But you're not going to mention any names?
No. Put them on alert. Because it's Kemini, you drive around Accra. You see what's going on. Okay? I have been the head of the Ghana Free Zones Authority for 8 years. So if anybody welcomes investment, it's me. But you don't want investment that shouldn't come into Ghana.
Yeah.
That's very, very, very bad for our economy. You can say it's bringing jobs, because the real estate brings jobs. Artisans are working, masons, carpenters, but the money should be clean. It's very important, because we have presented ourselves for mutual evaluation, right? As we speak, I'm sure you know that Financial Action Task Force and DIABA are here holding a convention. I just came back from giving a speech there. So if Ghana doesn't pass the mutual evaluation because people are bringing dirty money here, what it does is it affects our ability as a country to get the kinds of financing that we need to develop our country, because you are going to be real estate. So that means that if you are trying to transfer money to your ward abroad, it becomes a problem. If you're trying to actually now go and genuinely say buy a vehicle, becomes a problem. And the sum total of it and the long...
That is even at the individual level?
Yes. That's basic. So long term, cumulatively, that dirty money that came into the country, for which reason we were flagged and declared, put on the grey list or blacklisted, long term it doesn't help our economy.
But
Because the government will want financing for, say, a project, port, airport, hospital. And what then happens is you are either being hit with astronomical interest rates because your destination is a no-go area, or it doesn't happen at all. And Ghana doesn't need that. We have stayed a developing country for far too long. President Mahama's vision is to turn this country into a proper middle-income country where Ghanaians are working and earning good wages. What we don't want is to put ourselves in a position where we can't even get the needed financing to get what we want. Because, for example, you can get, in the past, we have used some of these agencies that are able to borrow on their own balance sheets to put up infrastructure, like the airport, like the Terminal 3 airport. If you are grey listed, who's going to give you the money? If you are blacklisted, who's going to give you the money? So that dirty little money that came in to build a 5-story building, for which reason you were flagged, has cost you an airport, has cost you a hospital, has cost you roads, has cost you railways, infrastructure that improves your economy. So for that reason, we just don't want that. The other thing it does, which a lot of people may not realize, is that it affects individual businesses. So where I was at the free zones, you have several operators who have partners abroad who do research on Ghana before they come in here to come and invest.
Right.
If they read that you are blacklisted, they are not coming. And that is because of the poxy little 5-story building that sits on the corner, for which reason we were blacklisted. When I was at the free zones, one of the things I realized was that most of the people who came into my office to talk about investment came in informed. And rightly so. Why would you waltz into a country and try to invest in a country that has no laws? So they know what they're coming for.
Right.
So one of the things we did was we actively pushed to put up corporate offices that presented a face for which investors were interested in. And I'm glad to say that I left the free zones in a place in which they are much better off than I left it. And that's what I hope to do here.
To do with
I want my work to speak for itself when I'm gone, not whilst I'm here.
What would that look like?
When I came in here, I realized that the offices that were in at the 10th floor, we needed improvement. So I approached the governor and the Minister of Finance, and the governor suggested that we move here because when the assessors for the mutual evaluation come, I'm sure you and your crew came in here, you saw that there's some renovation work going on here. When they come in here, they want to see you in a certain kind of environment, and it tells them a story. Apart from the things like improved legislation and addressing the issues that came up with the national risk assessment, and they want to see that they came to corporate offices. They want to see people working. They want to see the analysts behind their desktops working. It tells a story.
When you came in, what was the story that this place told?
Reactive. reactive. Not necessarily, and let me be clear, I am not apportioning blame.
Right.
But I thought that we were hanging around too much for things to happen to us. And let me once again say that once I'm appointed to be the CEO of FIC, I subsume and assume what has happened and what goes on from here on in. And indeed, when you see what is going on at PAC,
Right.
the new CEOs are being asked what happened when they're not. So I will be responsible for last year's audit, which means that I am responsible for what goes on here. And so what I have to do is to sell the president's vision, sell this government's vision, and ask the people who work here to come along with me. So one of the things we are doing is we are doing a staff rationalization. We are going to ask our departments what they need to do better. And in doing so, we are providing the needed capacity. One of the things that the National Risk Assessment told us is that we needed increased capacity. So we need to empower and training. We need to empower our analysts to be able to track and trace using the modular software that we are being given. I mean, the current events and what we are learning from the GoML software, the improvements, and the other infrastructure and IT things that we are being asked to use need increased capacity. They need people with IT background.
You're watching Hot Issues. My guest is the CEO of the FIC, the Financial Intelligence Center, Engineer Kwadwo Chumbuafo. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
It's match day. The rivalry, the history, the patching, the super clash. Heart of Oak versus Asante Kotoko. Sunday, 9th November. Cross Sports Stadium. Come witness the pride of Accra. Meet the power of Kumasi to battle for supremacy. Join the fan zone outside the stadium. Stage, sound, drinks, prizes, and meet your favorite celebs, influencers, and football legends all live at the stadium. Pure energy. You won't be bored because there will be free Wi-Fi. The vibes don't stop. Camp chant, dance, and turn up with campus fans. This isn't just football, it's a festival. 2 giants, 1 nation, 1 game.
Welcome back. When I looked at the assessment report, the risk assessment report, I was surprised to note that mobile money had become a platform for money laundering. How is that?
The banks have tightened their regulations. So the FinTech and Innovations Department of the BOG and the Financial Stability Department are very, very strict on financial transactions. Indeed, if what I know, you can't even, in Ghana today, you can't even give a third party a check of more than 5,000 cedis. That's how strict they are, right? As we speak, you can't even transfer foreign currency to an individual without setting checks on the individual where the money is going. So they're very strict. So the platform that most of them use will be the mobile money platforms, which is more or less, I won't say unregulated, but because it's virtual, yeah, those virtual assets,
Right.
it's more difficult to monitor. Then there's also Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. It's inactive, even though it's outlawed in this country as we speak. It's actively being used, because you see, by the very definition of cryptocurrency, it is difficult to regulate, even though it's outlawed in this country, because they terminate the transactions in the banks.
So, I mean, so when it comes to those digital assets, what are you doing to be able to then track how much money, is being...
The Bank of Ghana, as we speak, is putting in regulation for us to be able to monitor what they do and what they don't do. I think that there's been a realization that instead of the outlaw status of it, we must regulate it and tax it, because it puts us it puts us as being current on the trend of the way financial transactions are going, right? We can't keep staying, putting our head in the sand and pretending like we don't know that that's the direction it is going. So it's being regulated, and if it's regulated, it's easier to monitor. But the mobile money platforms, which are allowed, right, are being used to do some of these things.
Yeah, but don't the telcos have an obligation to also make reports to you?
Yeah, they do.
They do?
Yeah.
They send you some of these
we are able
transaction
to
reports?
We are able to freeze mobile money accounts.
I see.
So they are enjoined to be compliant, but them being fully compliant, that's another discussion for another day.
Are they being fully compliant?
Not as much as I would like. I talked about the front foot approach that we need, and they in particular, not as much as I would like. The banks are, but the telcos, no.
I see. Is that why we are unable to tackle the issue of fraud also?
Yes. 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 I think that, the basic things like somebody calling you and telling you, Madam, I've transferred some money into your account by mistake, send it back to me. Those basic little scams, right? If we had regular reporting from the telcos, we will be able to know the regularity with which even a certain number is doing a certain kind of transaction, right? But I would want to believe that because float of sorts, maybe there may be some inefficiencies here and there. We think that with time we will be able to come to a consonance with them for us to be able to give us what we need.
Another vulnerability we would look at is gold mining. Right. What role does the FIC play, for instance, in gold dealings in Ghana?
We are the ones who do the background check on everybody who wants to deal with Gold Board. So Gold Board sends us names of people who deal with them, and we check their bona fides, we check their backgrounds. It doesn't matter. It's not just in country. Wherever you've traded, wherever you've worked, we'll find out in consultation with the research department of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We will find out what you did and what you didn't do, and we report back to them.
I see. So when
before you are licensed, if you are looking to license a gold dealership.
I see. So when Gold Board says that we'll buy all kinds of gold, the backbone of that is that the FIC will investigate where the gold is coming from. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's clarify something.
Right.
There's a lot of noise about what Gold Board does. And I think, my opinion, a lot of it is manifestly uninformed. Because what Gold Board has done is simply to take over the functions of what PMMC used to do. Right? At the time PMMC buys gold, because don't forget, there are licensed gold miners in the country. So those licensed miners sell to Gold Board. Gold Board sells the gold, and everybody's happy because they use it to back our currency. Right? All over the world, gold is a store of value. Some people put it in vaults, 3 miles underneath the ground. We know. So what Gold Board does is simply replicating that principle to, improve our currency's position.
Right.
And when they buy it, it goes to approved sources. Because the gold is assayed and whatever. There's a whole process that goes on to make sure that that gold doesn't come from the wrong place. So that is not to say that gold is not smuggled. Because I saw a report that said that about $11.5 billion
Of Ghana's
dollars
gold.
worth of gold was smuggled across borders.
How is FIC able to track the money to deal with some of these smugglings that could also tell in our fight against illegal mining?
Because when they sell it, they try to use it to buy something.
Okay.
And when you do that, we will find out.
So you're able to follow the money?
Yes.
Are you doing any now?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And it's, you see, it's, I don't want to say it's difficult. It's not difficult. But it involves a lot of work. Because the people who do these things, once again, are sophisticated. So they take it through several iterations. You have to follow the iterations to make sure that you are at a point of inflection with what they are doing. So they are very clever. But we hope that we are cleverer. And we hope that we have the technological base to ensure that we are able to bring some of these things under control. Caveat, we can't do everything. But we are trying to do as much as we possibly can.
Right.
And we have been given enough support, internally, externally, to do what we're doing.
What role is the FIC playing in the Chairman Wontumi case?
Well, you have to find the money.
Okay.
Illicit money is illicit money. You asked about gold. If somebody is mining in a forest reserve and using the proceeds thereof for whatever political purpose, whatever purposes they are using it for, that's a case for the FIC, a typical case for the FIC. That is the definition of money laundering.
Okay, so then you think there's probable cause for the FIC to be involved?
I don't think there's probable cause. We are involved because we find the money.
Okay.
Right? And in his case, some of the proceeds had been diverted through several other entities. And we have to find the money. We have to give the Attorney General our report, and he will use it in his prosecution, so to speak.
What do you mean some of the monies were diverted into other entities?
Into other entities. Some of the money goes into other. It's a typical scenario for us, because you are looking at a particular individual. What is he doing with the proceeds of what we think is illicit financing. Where is it going? So you follow it and you find out that, A got 10 million cedis on this day. The next day he withdrew or transferred 9.77 million of it into an insurance company. So you look for that insurance company and you find out that that's an insurance company that doesn't take deposits. So all that happens is the money is going from A to B to C to D, and it tells a story.
Also, just to clarify, are you not saying that is the case with Chairman Wontumi?
Kemini, I answered your question.
No, the example you have given now with because I asked you about the entities, right? But you have given me an example, a general example.
Yes, I give you.
Also, what I want to know, especially so because of the people who will be watching us, is whether or not this example is in relation to the case of Chairman Wontumi.
Chairman Wontumi's case is in court.
Okay.
So once again, it's not. I can't give specifics. The Attorney General has laid out his case before the court. The courts are dealing with them. But what I can tell you is that his general manager has just 10 states evidence. He was the fourth accused, he's just 10 states evidence. His general manager has implied that he was actually asked to go into the forest reserve to mine. That is a telltale that amplifies what we thought we were saying, what we thought we had seen. Now, I have heard that in the recent past he has mentioned that the FIC has seized his money and he cannot feed his family. And so begs the question, for somebody who was able to display gold bars on TV, I'm not sure whether it was your station, but
it was on his own station.
Okay, but there was another.
It was on his station. I think they were rebroadcast on other channels.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're able to do that, why are we not able to feed the children?
Okay. I cannot answer that.
I think that may be political gimmickry intended to court sympathy. But I'm just begging the question that if you're able to display gold bars and call it solid money, on television, why would you not be able to take care of your family?
So his accounts are still frozen?
Yeah, because that has been 10 to Yoko, that the Attorney General may attach it if he's successful with his prosecution. So that left our hands long ago.
I see. And it's likely to be the same, that it's likely to stay that way until the case has properly terminated in the courts.
I can also tell you that there has been civil judgment of which we have a copy. One of his partners who is also about to tell his story to the AG. Right? And they brought us that civil judgment just yesterday. So there are many wheels in motion regarding
What does the civil judgment say? It's
about a story to do with mining, the same mining in illicit areas. It's all the wheels are in motion, and at the end of the day, a judge will determine the veracity or otherwise of the AG's charges.
It's easy for somebody to say that we are going after Chairman Wontumi and freezing his assets because he's a politician and a politician of the opposition party. Perhaps that is why. The
fourth accused person is general manager who is turning state's evidence. It's not NDC. Is he? It's a boy from Tomo. So what it is that you have gone and done that one of your assigns is now prepared to testify against you in a court of law speaks volumes. I heard the gentleman say something that I found instructive. He said that they had both been arrested, and the people who went to sit at Yoko were shouting, "Free Chairman Wontumi, how about me?" I also have children, I also have a family. Why was nobody looking out for me? So that is instructive again. That case will be adjudicated in the courts, and we will soon know whether he's guilty as charged or not. But I can tell you that there was a lot of money going around. People do it differently. So you may take a certain amount of money that has come into your account illicitly and funnel it into one venture. Somebody may take it and dissipate it into other accounts and then ask the people to go and collect the money and bring it to him. Some people may use it to do real estate like we've spoken about. Some people may use it to do what we call trade-based money laundering now. That is a very interesting aspect of money laundering.
Thank you very much for sitting down with us.
Thank you.
And thank you too for watching this edition of Hot Issues. There are parts of this interview with Engineer Kojo Twumboafo we haven't been able to bring you here in this 1 hour show of this edition, but you can log on to youtube.com and watch those parts we couldn't stream live in this episode. We are back next week with another episode of Hot Issues. I'm Kemini Amanor. My guest is Engineer Kojo Twumboafo, his CEO of the Financial Intelligence Center. I'll see you same time next week. Bye-bye.